He is the head football coach at Tarleton State University, Todd Whitten. Proud that he's an SFA grad, and he joins us. Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, David Smoke on 365 Sports. Coach, always great to have you on. You've done a fabulous job in your career with what you've done. Can you try to describe where Tarleton State is now compared to even back when you were there in the 90s, but just since you've been there on and off since 2000?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Going all the way back into the 90s, we were transitioning from Division III to Division II, and so that was a lot of fun, and we had some success doing that, and then we really did a good job, I thought, through our Division II years, and then starting in about 2019, going into the 2020 season, we began the transition process to Division I, and really proud of our program and coaches, players, our administration, everybody involved. I thought we've done really well. We get through that without any losing seasons, and really a year ago we finished 8-3, and we were probably would have been a playoff team had we been eligible to do so.
Coach, the world of college athletics is ever changing and morphing and rapidly. You don't know what things are going to be one day to the next. For a school like Tarleton, that could be daunting, but having talked to your athletic director and your president on this show several times, I don't really get the feeling that it is daunting for you guys, that you guys are kind of, even though it's going to be difficult, kind of hitting the challenge head on.
Yeah, no doubt. It's really tough. But we've got a real aggressive mentality, starting at the top with our president and really our entire community. And so, I would liken us maybe a little bit to what Troy was, maybe 20, 25 years ago. I think we're going to have our best team yet, I think, coming up this fall. And so hopefully we'll be able to have more success. But, our plan is one day to be an FBS football program, and we'd like to do that sooner rather than later. But in the meantime, we're going to, do our very best to put the best FCS team out there. And so been really proud of everybody involved and just thankful for all the support that we get.
I understand there's a transition when you move up, but is it longer than it needs to be, or should at least it have every year check in with a committee and look at your resume or whoever's resume, Jacksonville State, whoever else we've seen do this, and maybe make decisions based on that in case you're ahead of schedule?
Well, I just think it's a little bit too long. I mean, just my opinion. I hope I don't get in trouble for saying that. But, the idea, I think, when you're going from Division II to FCS football, we had a team full of junior college players. They were not Division I eligible. And we had some really good Division II teams. We had some elite Division II teams, and many of our players were not ever Division I eligible. And so I think one of the main reasons that you have that transitioning is to cycle a lot of those guys through the program. And so we're not jumping in there and playing with ineligible guys, so to speak. And so I think 2 years would be a little more in line, but because I can tell you from my perspective and our staff and our players, really everybody involved, 4 years is just a long time, and it was really difficult. And so we're really thankful it's behind us now.
Is it also, Paul asked you about the landscape, but you have to wait 4 years, and then right now with what's going on with college football, with what they call the haves and the have-nots, I don't believe that myself. That they're trying to separate, and that by the time that's ready for you, it might be different again?
Oh, there's no question. I certainly don't know. But yeah, it seems to change daily almost. But it easily will be different in a few years than it is today, I think. And who knows where it's all going to shake out. But I can tell you, Tarleton is just one of the finest places in the entire world. And I really believe that we'll be ready for whatever. And like I said, in the meantime, we're excited about competing in the FCS, and who knows how long that'll last. But we're anxious to see how well we can do, and if we can can, put a good team on the field, maybe qualify for the playoffs sooner rather than later.
You mentioned the team last year you thought would have been a playoff team had you been eligible. Do you feel that this team, has that, be in their bonnet about that, and, has improved over last year as you head in? Do you feel maybe even more confident knowing what you're kind of heading into?
Well, I think so. I really think our team is going to it should be better. I hate to say too much about that because there's a lot of things that go into winning ball games and a lot of things can happen. But last year, they take 24 teams into the FCS playoff. 15 of those 24 were teams that won less than 9 games. And so, 5 or 6 or 7 of them were 7-4 teams. So I really think we get in that field had we been eligible. And so, we've got every single starter back on offense. And then we lost 5 guys off of a good defense. And, we feel like we've replaced those guys through the portal and through junior college guys. And so, we've got a lot of work to do. Certainly we're not handing out any awards or making claim to anything right now, but we've got a chance to have a good football team, better than we were a year ago.
You have the game at the end of August against Baylor, but you have one before that, McNeese State on the 24th. What was that originally scheduled, and did you add that game just to make – because I think that's a great advantage anytime somebody could play one more game before they play anybody, because most teams don't. What was the decision-making there?
Yeah, I agree 100% with you. Everybody tends to make their biggest jump in terms of progress from week 1 to week 2. So McNeese was about a week 4 game, and we just moved it from week 4 to week 0. And we were able to get everybody on board, all of our folks, everybody over at McNeese. And we're going to get to play, I think, on ESPN2, which is a big deal for our guys. And so, it seemed like a no-brainer, and we're excited for the opportunity.
A year ago, Baylor opened up against Texas State, and G.J. Kinney and the Bobcats handed them a pretty shocking loss. What do you see, or do you know any idea with all the changes Baylor's made among basically both sides? Spavital, now the offensive coordinator, Dave Aranda taking over the defense, Gary Patterson is an analyst. You have any idea what you expect?
Well, I think Baylor will have a really good team. I think they've added some really good players, and certainly, as you just mentioned, they've moved some things around on their staff, and so we're just hoping to go and play well. We've done this twice already. We've been on the road at TCU, and then last year at Texas Tech, and we got a little better, I thought, last year. Still not as well as we would have liked to have played. Probably not capable of winning either one of those games, but I think we're going to have the best team that we've had since we've been in Division I, and so hopefully we can just make some more improvement. And this will be our 3rd opportunity to play on a really big stage like that, and I think our guys will be more ready than ever.
Every time we have somebody from Tarleton on our show, we talk about how many football coaches that you guys produce. Do you have players on your staff right now that you believe will be football coaches one day?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no question. I think half the staff maybe played for me. I'm not sure, but some of them did. But yeah, we put out a lot of ag teachers, a lot of coaches. Tarleton's a special place, and there's no question. I can't hardly visit a high school and not have 2 or 3 on the staff that are Tarleton grads. So that's always fun.
I've said this before that I think either Tarleton and or Stephen F. Austin, your alma mater and mine too, produce an unbelievable amount of the Texas high school coaches. Would you agree?
Yeah, there's no question. I don't know if you're aware, but Johnny Toos is a Tarleton grad, and so we get to see him every once in a while at different events or whatever. But I believe he was at Waco High for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Hall of Famer. Yeah,
I see him at the grocery store all the time.
Yeah, at HEB Wooded Acres. Yeah.
He's a fun guy to talk to.
Todd, you played under Jim Hess. who was at Angelo State, won a national title. Eventually, I think you were on his staff when he went to New Mexico State, was a scout for the Cowboys and much more. What did you learn from him, and how much has that rubbed off on you as a football coach?
You know, I probably do things more like Coach Hess than anybody that I've worked for. Coach Hess had a real talent for locating and identifying talent, and he could see something in a guy that nobody else could. Oftentimes, I would say one of the great evaluators or the best evaluator probably that I've ever been around, and he would tell you that recruiting at our level, Stephen F., Tarleton State, Angelo, really the probably the lower half of Division I FBS, is really more about evaluating than it is about recruiting. And so, you know, I think I would say that would be the main thing that I've taken with him. You know, players love to play for Coach Hess. He was always, I thought, ahead of the times. We threw the ball back in the early 80s before really anybody was throwing it very much. I don't know if you remember Noble and Dixon, our really good wideouts we had.
Floyd Dixon and James Noble, both drafted by the NFL. Yeah. And so, both of those guys were one-offer guys. I mean, so Coach was really a great evaluator. And, you know, they say he went and found Tony Romo out at Eastern Illinois. Yes, he did. He absolutely did. Yep, he did.
Yeah. So, yeah, a special guy. He and I stayed very close all the way up until he passed away a couple of years ago. And so, I miss him.
You mentioned James Noble and Floyd Dixon, and one-offer guys. Noble was more like the possession receiver, not that he couldn't go deep, and Floyd was a burner. Falcons, I think, he played for Atlanta for a while. To have those kind of guys to get the ball to, have a possession receiver and then the deep ball, what was that like for you?
Well, we had really good players there. I was the weak link in the deal, without a doubt. I mean, yeah, you know, to be playing in the Southland, well, it was the Gulf Star Conference,
right?
And to have two NFL guys, and of course, everybody was a two-back offense back in those days. So we played with a tight end, two backs, and two wideouts. But yeah, to have both of your wideouts play in the league was incredible. And so, what a great experience.
Last thing for you, we appreciate your time. Todd Whitten, head coach at Tarleton State. What do you have on your schedule this summer, and do you get a chance to decompress? I'm sure there's camps and off-season, all that stuff that can be done now, but do you have a chance to decompress, and if you do, what would that be?
You know, we're working hard trying to win ball games. My wife and I we take a vacation about the third week in May, and that seems to work pretty well. We've gotten most of the portal stuff kind of tended to, and summer program's about to get started, but gosh, it really is in my way of thinking, if you're gonna be able to go out and have a good squad, man, you gotta get things done during the summertime. So we enjoy a lot of kind of long weekends, but other than that, we don't get too far away from Stephenville.
Well, that's a good place to be, and we'll have you on, I think, again the week of the Baylor game after you open up with McNeese State. Todd, always appreciate you. Love watching you. Covered you when you were at Stephen F. Boston, and obviously proud of what you did there and other places too. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it. Have a great summer.
Okay, honored to talk to you guys.
You too. Todd Whitten, head coach at Tarleton State. Did you hear what he said about their offense?